Hi, welcome to Flooring Models Kit Review Time. Today we've got Kitty Hawk's brand new SU-35 Flanker E. Now I know what you're thinking, Kitty Hawk, Phil, you're not exactly a big fan, you haven't said many kind words about them, and yet if you were watching a vlog you would know that you went out and bought 7 of them. Why? What's going on? Okay, now first of all, we all got a bit carried away when we went to Ria and we saw a flanker flying, and like everything, you see it and you're like, oh, gotta have one, okay? And technically we've reviewed pretty much every other flanker that's out on the market, and yes, I have pretty much given Kitty Hawk a hard time over the last few years reviewing their stuff, and to be honest, every time that they've released a kit I get quite excited about it because of what it is, and then their parts break down and just generally the quality of the moulding always lets them down. So you always get into that thing of almost expecting them to be pretty horrible and nasty, and to be honest I wasn't going to buy this kit at all until I saw some photos of the parts breakdown, as in it actually has a one-piece fuselage instead of Kitty Hawk's normal way of chopping fuselages up to make a myriad of different types of things. This one they seem to keep true to the actual aircraft, which will make assembly a lot nicer. Now, as always, disclosure, I have not even looked in this box. I've been sitting on these for well over a week now and haven't even opened a box lid to have a nosy on what's inside. So this is the first time I've seen it, and with all my reviews I have not looked at a single other review, read anything, listened to anything or anything else apart from I just saw the sprue shots a few weeks ago when this kit was actually being released initially. So what have we got down in the box? Very nice box art. Again, Kitty Hawk, given their dues, they actually do come out with some nice box art. Obviously it's 1/48 scale, as you can see. Some beautiful markings, and let's face it, you know, I am a big fan of the Russian stuff, as a lot of you will know, primarily because of these beautiful markings. So we got that sort of new sort of eggplant sort of colour that they tend to have, the standard sort of three-tone flanker colours, and this gorgeous splinter one as well. So right off the bat you're right in there with all the ones you might want to do with it. Looking around on the box itself, got your kit number, so it's KH80142. Okay, and then a few more on the other side as well. So we've got the actual Chinese training center and the Chinese Air Force ones as well as the Russian one, and then it's just exactly the same on the other side. So down in the box, again, first time I've opened up the box, we have the kits. Okay, and I'm looking at it expecting it to be really horrible, and I tell you that's very not right. Okay, let's pop it out of the way. First off, let's have a look down here in our little booklet. All right, so usual thing, quite a nice little booklet. Again, it's that thing, it's a little bit old school in the instructions, the way they are. They're very cluttered as how they put them in. But again, if you separate them a little bit, and it's okay, it's showing you various things down in there. We've got a little bit of photo etch, things like that, as we make our way through. Over here, this is what drew my eye to this initially, as in I was expecting them to be doing some sort of multi-part fuselage with this type thing, probably trying to get the UB version into it, and I was expecting it to be cut up. Actually, it doesn't look too bad down here at all. The only thing is slightly different to the other type of flankers we see out there. This has got wings separate. When you're looking at other ones like Hobby Boss releases and everybody else's, they do tend to do this one-piece top and bottom, which is quite a nice little touch with it. But this one is separate. All right, so that might be just one little issue in there, but building it will be the only way to tell with that. Anyway, over here. Cockpit seat. Seat doesn't look too bad. Some nice little details going down in there. We've got a little bit of photo etch going down in there. We've got a full tub being made up for the actual cockpit, the instrument panels. Don't forget this is the SU-35 version, or the modern flanker. So it has got the old big TV screens in there, so no more little dials to worry about and things. Okay, fitting all that down in there. So you've got basically a front wall system, I imagine, for somewhere down where the gear's going to go. So you end up with a tub, okay? Then you've got a couple of little holes to open up, all right, down in there, which are obviously going to be for the gear, one would assume, the way that's going to fit in, all right? We do have a gun as well. It's a cannon system down on the flanker family, so that one is being put down in there. Then we've actually got the tub being fitted down in there, and the little hole and everything else for the sort of pirate sight on the front, okay? Working our way down through the actual, the well system, so we've got the nose well being fitted down and drops into there, as we can imagine, and then making up for the actual main wheel wells themselves. Down in here we've got the actual nozzles. We'll speak about that afterwards, but we've got some nice nozzles down in there like that. Don't forget, the SU-35 does have moving nozzles as well, which gives it incredible agility if you've ever seen it at air shows and things. Okay, two halves going down in there together, and then the actual stinger, as I call it, the sort of very famous aft area down being fitted in. Okay, going on. Then we've got the wing, so it does a nice touch. We've got separate flaps and slats on there, so you can have it deployed or not. Okay, another nice touch which is really nice to see is we do have a full radar as well, so that's a beautiful little touch being fitted down there in the front end of that. And then obviously it's not showing it can be displayed open, but it'd be nice if we have got a swing round set in there, but actually probably wouldn't take too much to knock one up, put one in. A couple of little items being fitted down behind the cockpit to having the actual cockpit in the open position. Very small little tabs, it looks like, for fitting in the actual stabilizers for the rear, and then fitting these wings, the old traditional slot way in. Again, time will tell on how well those actually go in and how they're going to work. Okay, rudder system is separate, and then obviously we've got the tail planes being fitted in, dropping those down in there. Does look like you can actually have the braking parachute for the rear in the open position down here on the actual tail of the flanker itself. Refueling probe being fitted up and being putted in. Nice work. We've got internal framework separate to the glass part for the outside as well, so that's a very nice touch in there. Okay, then we got the exhaust being fitted onto it. Okay, sorry, the intake fans being fitted into those ones, and then a few little boxes drop down into there. And then with all the other flanker families, we know putting in those grills, sort of louver doors as I call them, down on the bottom, being fitted down there into the intakes. Here we have a colour call out, which is actually stapled in the middle of the book. Okay, so as you can see down in there, we've got that one there for Red 5. That beautiful sort of dark colour that they tend to have on the top side now really is quite striking. And then on the other side, we've got the more traditional three-tone flanker colours down in there for Red 31. Very nice like that. And then over on this side, which to be honest is my favourite, I do love that splinter. That is very, very nice down there for 902. Really nice one actually. I do like, I can see myself making that. That's the weird thing to all of this. Okay, or as you said, we've got the Chinese versions as well down on this side. You could probably pull this out as a separate sheet if you wanted to, and then obviously the Chinese ones, and then Chinese ones on there like that. Really very nicely done. And then we got weapons as well, colour call outs, and your charts and things in there. So if you wanted to, you could just pop that one out. I'll leave it down in there, we've covered that now. Okay, intakes being fitted down into there, a little bit of detail work showing where the plumbing and the latches and things for the main gear is going to go and how they're going to run, so that's fair enough. Okay, then down into the nose gear, so we've actually got the FOD deflector, or mudguard, down here at the back. Main gear as well being fitted in, and then dropping those in. Really nice that they go in so late in the build, which is lovely. Okay, and then the same with the geared doors and the little aerials and the actual fins down the back as well. So that's quite a nice touch. Pylons all being fitted in. We've got little sway braces as well. Looks like they're made out of photo etch. Another little nice touch with that one. And then obviously your lights and various things being fitted. And then your weapons fit, whichever you want to stick down this one. So it depends if you're going to be doing a sort of full-on air-to-ground load or a full-on air-to-air load or something in between. Okay, but again, we've got mirrors down in here for multiple ejector racks, okay, as well as your normal sort of pylons. And then obviously you've got your R27, so you've got your ER versions and your radar versions, and then obviously you've got your short-range missiles down in there as well, and a weapons loadout. I'm actually quite excited now, actually seeing the way that that goes together, apart from the wing area, which is going to be a problem, I know, but old school, quite like that. That's really nice to see, I must admit. Okay, into the parts. So, seeing as it's right in front of us, let's do the clear part first. Seeing this is a funny review that I don't normally do, we'll do it in a funny way. So, clear part, we do have probably the largest oversized sprue. Makes you wonder if there was going to be another tab coming in here for the two-seat UV version at some point. It's got a centre seam running right the way through the middle you're going to have to take care of, but actually I have to say that's really clear. That's no problem with that at all. Again, get in there with a good high quality buffer polisher like one of these clearly from Flory Models. That's what you need, and that will make that go like gloss every time. But actually I have to say, pleasantly surprised. No problem at all. We've got no deviation. It's a complex part and it's quite small. Don't forget, this isn't 32nd, this is 48 scale. So in some ways you're going to get a little bit of rippling and things in there, but that is pretty clear, nicely molded. All of the smaller parts, so we've got the little bits down here for the heads-up display, the nav lights, landing lights, things like that. The little pirate sight on the front, okay, things like that. Actually very nice indeed. So no problem with that, that's very positive. Okay, let's get to the bit we all want to see. So down in here, the fuselage areas. This is why I like flankers in this scale. I don't like the big ones because they are massive. This one though, doesn't look too bad. Now there's a good reason why I'm looking at the underside first. The whole point of looking at the underside first is I'm trying to look at the ejector pins and seeing if they've improved over previous ones. And I have to say, although they're big and chunky and they're a little bit sunk, at least they're not the massive, horrible things we've seen in the past. Okay, now technically we assume this was on a sprue at some point and some loafer's been around and hacked it off, but at least they've cut the points off quite loose. But there we go, that's what we're looking at. Again, I have to say that's a vast improvement. I can see really very, very good detailing in all of this. So if we just start at the back and we'll run our way through. If I can catch it in the light, got funny light conditions in the studio today. But you can see we have got really, there we go, very, very nice details on that. The thing is with a flanker, I would rather have it, or any Russian aircraft, slightly bigger, too much detailed panel lines and riveting detail, because I want that to pop, because to me that's Russian. Okay, it's not composite materials, it's not just all bleeding carbon fibre and plastic these days. It's traditional, proper Russian stuff. So I like to show it, I like to heavily wash it and weather it and everything else like that, because it's Russian, and that's what I do. Okay, so I have to say, very, very impressed with all of that. So kudos to Kitty Hawk. Again, you can see how it was on a sprue, is what we were talking. So we've got sprue marks down in here. I would prefer them not to be cut as close as somebody's done, and that way I can make a good polished in. But you've got them all the way along here. At least this one isn't off too close, okay? But, you know, obviously let me do the cleanup rather than somebody in a factory, okay? But I have to say, really very nice, very sharp details. This stuff up around the front here, as you can see, that is beautifully done. Very, very nice. Now, it's not all brilliant news, because we have got a mould mark in here where I don't think we should technically have one. Okay, so it's a little bit funny how that is. It's a bit like this section down in here is an afterthought, because I've actually got a mould line and it comes up here and you can see it. So this entire section is obviously, we're going to be expecting to see other flankers, let's just say it like that. So instead of this being perhaps a different part, they've elected to put it in. Now is that a problem? Not really, because we can polish that out. It's just laying funny, it's not as flush as it should be. You can see how it was an afterthought with the actual moulding. So I'm assuming it'll be the same on the other side, and yeah, it is. This one, to be honest, isn't so bad, but the thing is, the panel lining is out of alignment. So I don't know how well you can see it, because obviously it's a bit tricky with this lighting condition. But this panel, it's staggered and it jumps, and obviously the riveting isn't the same either. So this part here, this entire section is an afterthought being moulded into it. Apart from that, I have to say the rest of it is beautifully done. I can find no fault anywhere with the rest of it. That's pretty good all the way through. We have got little bits of flash, but now I'm being picky, because that is just not real flash. It's just picky, being picky, Flory, stop it. Down inside, obviously we've got a little bit of detail with these wheel wells. I'm just concerned about how these wings are going to fit and how it's going to go in, because it is tiny little tabs. If it was a big bar, we've seen Tamiya do it in the past, where you've actually got a physical bar that would run right the way across perhaps, just to help out with alignment and geometry and stuff like that, I think it wouldn't be a problem. But generally, I have to say that's quite nice. On the underside, again, you know, when you're looking at it, you can just get a sense of the scale of this thing. It is huge, it is big. And again, I have to say, that is really very nicely done. You see all that detail down in there? No problems with any of that whatsoever. Again, probably cut a little bit too close for what I would like, but there we go. We can easily clean those up. And we have just got tiny little bits. I can see them along here. It's a little bit rough on these joins. So you're just going to have a little bit of cleanup, test fit, check it, test fit again, check it, and then you might need a little bit of sanding and filling just to make that perfect, because these are very noticeable areas. But generally, I have to say, again, Very nicely done. Now they've done the same on the front. Yeah, we've got a slight afterthought. What it is, we've got a slime line for the night navigation or formation lights, whatever you want to call them. For the slime ones down in here, they're an afterthought. You can see it's just gone in. But again, I could make that disappear within 2 passes of a sanding sponge, so I won't worry too much about that. It's just it's there. But we've got no sink marks, no nasties, no nothing. It's a good, to be honest, I have to say, it's an improvement in their plastic. Previous kits I've been to are very soft. It's been quite, yeah, everything's just soft is the only way I can describe it. This is proper, it's like Hasegawa plastic. Good on you. Very nice indeed. Okay, so working our way down through. See, look, I might actually get on Kitty Hawk's Christmas card list again. Okay, so down in here, let's have it the right way up. You can see another very nice sprue. Okay, plenty of gaps in it, which makes you wonder. I'm assuming we've got other things coming down the line with this one, but no problem at all. But if we have a little bit of a look round, we can see we've got various things. This is down for the tails where the rudder area is. Quite nicely done. The detail isn't too bad again down in these wheel wells and things like that. Various nice. The nose, we've got raised details on that, which it does have in real life, I do believe. Again, no problem. And again, when you're looking around at these tails, all that beautiful riveting. You know, to me, that's what an aircraft is. Give me riveting panel lines every day over these new modern composite F-35s and F-22s and, you know, Typhoons and things. We like that detail. Okay, down in here, again, a little bit of flash, but I'm going to forgive it. Beautiful riveting. It has got one slight seam line, obviously, from the injection, but again, I think it wouldn't take too much just to get rid of that without damaging too much detail. There is a slight difference between, obviously, down here, we've got the bottom. The camera can pick this up. Might be able to see we've got quite heavy riveting detail here, but when we get to the sides it fades off into probably more scaled riveting. It's not the same right the way through, and you might be able to see it. It's got that panel line is running right the way across here, and it comes to the front, and there is quite a distinct step. You can see it just here between the two. Okay, so it's not exactly the most perfect fit in the world. And again, on this side we've got it running down here. It's at a slight more of an angle. Catch it in the light, it's there. Okay, and it runs up and then comes to the front, and again we've got a little bit of a lip right the way through. Again, I'd be more inclined to leave that because you're going to destroy too much, I think, to get rid of it. This here would be easy to get rid of. That in there, I would probably leave it. I'll just fade it, take it from this panel line here, and I'll leave that in the front. But again, this detail here, really very, very nice indeed. No problem with any of that. That's great. I have to say, I'm impressed. Who would have thought it? Okay, even some of these smaller parts up around the top here, very nicely done. No problem with that at all. Okay, and down on the blind side, the ejector pins are all seem to be out of the way, which is very nice indeed. The louver doors have got a couple banged in there, but again, it's not really going to affect what you're going to get down in there, so I won't worry about it. Obviously, it open or close down on these. So I'm quite impressed with that. That's very nice indeed. Okay, what we got? Engines and things in here. Okay, so as you can see, big old one, strikes you very, very nicely detailed. In fact, this is really, really nice. This is actually coming together. It's going to be a very nice kit. Some of the little details on this, I love this engine work and everything else, but popping around a little bit more in detail over here, you can see we've got various items, very small, you know, defined, all the various bits down in there as well. Great. We've got some of the cockpit stuff down in here. We've got down there in the tail system between the engines with the actual chaff and flare buckets on there. Very nice indeed. Obviously this is some of the plumbing work that's going to be around inside the actual wheel wells, and again nice plumbing work all the way through. The nozzles, actually, I must admit, we were talking about that earlier. The nozzles, there's an aftermarket Russian company who makes, I think, beautiful ones that are actually in the powered down position. These are straight back. Technically they do droop south and hang down a little bit because these are moving nozzles, and these are obviously just in the fixed position to the rear. It may be aftermarket time for those, but actually if you did want them straight, the detail on these is very, very nice indeed. And again, a little bit of a shame that we're going to have to chop that out in there and then polish it up, but again, it's not too much of a problem for the internals. That's actually not too bad at all. Okay, over on the other side we've got some of the more of the smaller bits up there at the top, and again a little bit of edging. It's going to be one of those things, just mind your clean up work, test fit everything before you come in with glue. But again, this is part of those engines. We'll have a look at the inside. The thing that struck me as soon as I looked at this particular sprue is the afterburner ring down here. That is some of the best moulding I think I've seen in 148. That is very fine, very detailed, very nice. Seen resin like it, but I don't think I've actually seen a detailed afterburner ring like that. And I'm not being funny, I'm currently working on this one, which is 1/32, and it's not exactly that good in there, to be honest. And that's a 1/32 engine unit there. Okay, so yeah, very nice indeed. The fans as well, to be honest, beautifully done, very nice, good quality moulding. Nice and sharp are these compressor blades, and then obviously we've got the first stage ones down in there as well. Really very nice indeed. Okay, and then down on these parts we've got parts for the cockpit, beautifully detailed, and then obviously we've got some activators for the gear and stuff like that. Okay, we don't have, which is what my worry was just about to be, any ejector pin marks on the insides of the inner part of the engine, if you like. Again, good detail, very sharp, very nice indeed with all of those. And again, we don't have any ejector pins on the inside of the gear doors whatsoever as well. So that's again very nice sprue. Absolutely fantastic. We like that. Okay, so over into the wing section. Could this be, from Kitty Hawk, a real left field but an entry into the best flanker? Possibly. Okay, so again, very nice sprue. Where are you? There we go. Okay, as you can see on that one, really very nice. Alright, so looking round again, beautiful work on these flaps. These activators and things like this that are already moulded in, again, fantastic. Absolutely love that. Okay, and then again on this lower part of the wing, you can see it in there. Beautiful work with all the access panels and all of that detail down in there like that. And then moving down the tailplane one, again, very nice. The rudders, beautifully done. We've got flash on the parts, but again, I'm going to forgive all this because this is like night and day for Kitty Hawk, to be honest. This is absolutely beautiful work on all of this. Really very nice. Okay, the front slat again. Now, I know what people are going to turn around and say. They're going to say it's too heavy for 48 scale. That's more sort of reminiscent of what you get in 32nd. Actually, I'm going to beg to differ there because I like it. As I say, it's going to take a wash beautifully. It's going to show off all that detail. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, and it's going to give you a really very nice looking flanker, especially if you're going to weather it. If you're going to weather it, it's going to be a dream kit. Okay, really very good, all of those. And then down on the other side, it's a little bit of a shame this is an inlay part into here, because you know that this little section down in here is going to be a headache. Again, take your time with it, test fit this to the hell out of it. Gets in here, sand these out, all right? The other little tip, okay, put a little bit of blue tack in here, okay? Or the old, you know, your dough stuff like this. Put a tiny spot in there and then push it into it. That way, if it's too sunken, you can have it raised and then push it in and get it exact before you come in with the glue, all right? And then that way you don't get a nasty lip, and then that way you can just come in with a tiniest smidge of filler just to get rid of the seam line. Very light sand over it and you'll be good to go without having step issues and stuff like that right the way over it. It does concern me with these wing tabs because, to be honest, these wing tabs, they're far too small. They need to be bigger. You're going to have a lot of weight on this kit, so we're all going to be there plugging in wings. This isn't a Spitfire from the 1960s or a Wellington from the 1960s from Airfix. Add 2 tabs and put in. You end up with a wing like this and one like that. That's going to be your problem. This will need to be jigged. But then we're all going to do that thing of like, okay, so you want a perfect seam at the bottom, lifting it slightly, and we're all going to end up with flankers like this. You know, so technically it's going to take a little bit of work, even if you're going to get in there with filler. But don't forget, do the usual thing, shim it if you can first with the tiniest little thin bits of plastic card, cut it, sand it, and that way you can get away with actually using fillers and glues and all the nasties that take time. Okay, so now we're getting into the nitty gritty of all the small parts down in here. As you can see, we've got a beautiful sprue there. It's a little bit busy right the way over it, but it all looks very nice. So if we start up in here, again, the sprue tabs, beautifully done. They're very nice and small. All the small parts, beautifully molded, probably the best I've seen. Okay, from Kitty Hawk to date. great detail, very nice stuff down in here. Minimal burring as well. This is burring when we talk about the actual seam. If you feel the outside of the sprue gate here is the line that runs along. It's from the two halves that these are in. That's actually pretty good. The wheels, again, we've got detailing on them, we've got raised surface, we've got all details you would actually want. Just down in here to the hub. As you can see, very highly detailed. The pylons looking very good right the way through. We've got no problems with those either. Instrument panel, beautifully detailed. Again, very nice mix of raised and recessed details on both those side walls again. Very, very nice main gear. Pylons, all very, very nice. Okay, moving on to the other side, all the aerials, they're very, very thin. In fact, that blade aerial there, I reckon, is damn near perfect. That's got to be, I don't know, probably 1/4 of a mil thick. Very, very nice indeed. Again, looking at all the boxes, all the items, right the way down to the ejector pull handles, very nicely done. Okay, nice job on the actual intake rams for the actual gear intakes as well. We've got the actual parts, these are the ones that the gear hang on to down on the intakes. Nice to see we've got detail, a little bit of cushioning work, a little bit of movement, as I call it, down there on the seat, so that's very nice as well. All right, and then the seat parts, we've got the two multifunction displays, the big old TV screens for the cockpit again, rudder pedals, look at the detail down on those little rudder pedals, beautiful job. Okay, again, minimal flash on, but we have got little bits here and there, but that's nothing too much. Look at the size of these parts, they are absolutely minute, and they are both there, which amazes me. I thought they would have ripped out by now. So very, very nice. Again, no problems. We don't have ejector pins in the inside of the actual main gear doors themselves. We have got a couple of the old-fashioned large ejector tabs, hold tabs as we call them, but they're all good. No problem with any of that whatsoever. That is really, really good. All of that, like that. Okay. Weapons, now are these going to be a match set? No. So we'll just flash around these quite loosely. Okay, so is this a match set? No, it's not. Okay. So as you can see, we've got a big old section. This is purely weapons and various things, as you can see down in here. It's the wrong way up. Alright, so as you can see, just quickly running around, we've got freefall bombs, we've got obviously missiles, gun pods, triple ejector racks are quite nice. Got an E27 down there at the bottom. Okay, and then again, very, very nice R73s. Very nice indeed. All of that. Very, very good. That's a match one. And then down in here, this is going to be a match pair as well. Again, really very nice. We've got the bigger missiles down on this one. And again, quick run round of it. You can see different heads if you want to put those in for the more surface to ground missiles. Okay, very nice. All of that seems to be really very, very nice indeed. Beautifully moulded. Okay, so what we've got left, we have in a zip bag, cracky. So, last up we have the markings, of which we do have quite a lot. Let's just move that. Okay, so as we can see, beautiful markings, and it is, we've got the small stuff up here which is just general blur, as I call it, because it's just lines to make it look like text, but everything else is text. And it's great that we've got inert ones as well, so that's great for these types of ones if you want to make it look like, you know, it's not proper operational and everything else. Just the gun feed stuff, all the walkways, the missiles, the big KH-58s, okay, and 59s down there as well. That's really nice for all of those. Beautiful work down there. Then we've got obviously markings, and we have got decals if you wanted to for the actual cockpit one, but most of us I suppose would be doing it powered down, so screens will be black anyway, and a lot of this you could pick out by hand. Okay, but these are all very nice indeed, as you can see on those, no problem with them. And then markings, generic, so you can make it any number you want down there as well, and same with those as well, so you can make it any particular Russian number you like. The slimeline colour It's the same as one on the box. It's funny because obviously US, UK ones and sort of, you know, European stuff tends to be the green tint. They've gone for an orange tint down in there. These, I'm not sure if they're supposed to be more of a silvery metal colour. But again, chances are if you're like me, you'll probably be painting those in rather than decaling it anyway. But I have to say the decals are all perfectly in register. Very nice, no problem with any of those at all. They look to be pretty good. They don't look too thick at all. So actually, again, kudos. That's actually really very nice on those. You can catch them in the light, you can see. Doesn't look too bad at all with any of those decals. So very, very impressed with those as well. Last up, we've got a little bit of photo etch. So we've got some grills, and that is uber thin as well. That's really nice piece of photo etch down in there. So again, very nice indeed. So you've got your harnesses, got the sway braces for the actual bombs, got the couple of grills, you know, and things like that in there. So that's actually really nice stuff as well. A couple of bits for the seat. Very nice indeed. Well, I eat my hat. I do. You know, for years, if you've been following me, I've been doing this now for the last 17 years. I've been reviewing kits on YouTube and stuff like that for the last 17 years. And sometimes things get typecast, shall we say. So you almost expect Kitty Hawk to having a great aircraft, but then ruin it by doing a kit of it, because they're just not quite there yet. They've always had that issue with various, what I call fit issues. Poor heart breakdown, poor moulding, mismoulding, you know, just generally not there. They've got all the right ideas, but just can't make a kit come to life. And then things with their instructions have had problems with them before. And I know then obviously people have built their kits and it's been a nightmare right the way through. Recently though, they seem to be getting a little bit better, but they've never really just got there, if you ask me. Now, I honestly have to say they have not built this kit, and obviously I would have loved to see a wing spar being in there for those wings. I think that's going to be the letdown with this particular kit. Unfortunately, I think, you know, a little bit of a redesign, putting in a wing spar system that goes right the way across. I think it would have actually nailed that kit. You could just slot the wings in and it'd be great. Tabs, that's too 1960s, 1970s technology to do tabs these days. Very, very few kit manufacturers will go down that route now. They usually do either a wing spar or mold it in one, okay? So yes, that is the only downside to this particular kit. But we're going to forgive the entire rest of it because Hobby Boss, in part of, you know, my point of view, were always really, really good. This is as good, if not suppressed, Hobby Boss. And for me to say that about Kitty Hawk is literally me eating humble pie, because I have made a bit of a joke out of them, to be honest, over the last few years. But this particular kit, if this is what their new kits are going to be like now, and if this is the quality and the detail that they're going to be releasing now, they're going to literally just gone from night to day with their quality of manufacturing and kits and everything else. And just the little booklet it comes with it and all the rest of it is absolutely perfect. So well done to Kitty Hawk. I can highly recommend this kit, which I thought would be something I would never say in the same sentence. Kitty Hawk and highly recommend, but for this definite is a highly recommend kit. It's a beautiful kit, beautifully laid out. Okay, the wing area, let's just see how it goes together. But from the point of view of what I've seen by looking in this box, is an absolute stunning kit. So everybody should go out and buy one. So there we go. That is Kitty Hawk's brand new 1/48 scale SU-35 Flankery.